Urgent Dirty Birds fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest Dirty Birds news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Potential draft outline shakeup with recent Falcons signing D. Alford and several others in the secondary are returning to the Falcons in 2025. How does this recent buzz affect the upcoming draft? Many mock drafts had the Falcons taking a corner early in this upcoming NFL draft. With Atlanta recently resigning D. Alford to the team, how does that shift the Falcons draft narrative? How D. Alford's return shifts Falcons draft narrative recap. Of Falcons secondary movements, the Falcons have not been active in making major secondary moves. However, there are still some notable changes. Justin Simmons is no longer on the team and is testing the free agency market. Simmons was a major part of the Falcons secondary last season, recording 2 interceptions and over 60 tackles. Simmons' departure leaves a major hole to be filled on the Atlanta depth chart. Atlanta made several moves to provide depth at the corner position. The team signed Mike Ford Jr. to a 2-year deal, as well as brought back Mike Hughes on a 3-year contract. Kevin King also recently decided to resign with the team on a short contract extension. With the recent headline that D. Alford is set to return to the organization, Atlanta has now signed in free agency or extended contracts on 4 players at the cornerback position alone. Alford's career in ATL. D. Alford has had a steady career in Atlanta, but nothing that has turned heads just yet. Over his career, he has had 141 total tackles and just 1 interception in his rookie campaign. However, in 2024, he gained a significant number of more significant reps and nearly doubled his total tackles from the year before. Many wondered if this growth over 1 year was enough to bring him back and not explore other options in the draft. Now, with Alford officially coming back alongside 3 other potential starting caliber cornerbacks, the draft strategy of the Falcons in the later rounds of the draft remains in question. Upgrades in the draft? With this upcoming draft being so deep, in safety talent like Andrew Mukuba and Nick Emenwori, expect the Falcons to be able to fill that hole within the first 34 rounds of the draft. There has been some speculation of a Justin Simmons return, but as it stands, expect the team to be needing to fill a need at safety in this upcoming draft. As far as the cornerback position is concerned, the Falcons proved that they trust in who they have on their current roster. Do not expect too many drastic picks to improve the secondary, but the team could decide to get some hidden talent later in the draft to bolster the depth chart. Secondary moving forward. The Falcons' secondary last season was almost entirely brought back from the previous season, and rightfully so. With the team's struggles to rush the passer, the secondary did a phenomenal job at holding their own. The team ranked 22nd in pass defense and 15th in run defense. Though 22nd in the league is not ideal, it is still impressive considering the team was second to last in quarterback pressures and sacks. Fans should be excited about watching what this secondary can do now that the team is sure to get help. On the edge. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Dirty Birds news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Trade pitch has Eagles land $32 million Pro Bowl tight end. The Philadelphia Eagles don't want to pay $15 million for 30-year-old tight end Dallas Goedert in 2025. That's not an indicator of how the Eagles view Goedert in the grand scheme of things. He was critical in their run to a Super Bowl last season and shook off injuries during the regular season with 17 receptions for 215 yards and 1 touchdown in 4 postseason games. He's been one of the NFL's best tight ends for almost a decade. Now, the Eagles reportedly want to trade Goedert, and if Philadelphia is willing to give up some of their stockpile of draft picks, 20 over the next 2 seasons, there's a way they might be able to get Atlanta Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts in return. The Philadelphia Eagles don't want to pay $15 million for 30-year-old tight end Dallas Goedert in 2025. That's not an indicator of how the Eagles view Goedert in the grand scheme of things. He was critical in their run to a Super Bowl last season and shook off injuries during the regular season with 17 receptions for 215 yards and 1 touchdown in 4 postseason games. He's been one of the NFL's best tight ends for almost a decade. Now, the Eagles reportedly want to trade Goedert, And if Philadelphia is willing to give up some of their stockpile of draft picks 20 over the next 2 seasons, there's a way they might be able to get Atlanta Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts in return. Getting Pitts wouldn't require a long-term commitment by the Eagles either. He only has 1 season left on his 4-year, $32.9 million rookie contract after the Falcons picked up his 5th-year option at $10.8 million for 2025. Bleacher Report's Brad Gagnon put Pitts on his list of NFL stars who could actually be traded on April 11th. This is another example of a talented young player entering a contract year and possibly needing a new environment to excel, Gagnon wrote. In this case, the Atlanta Falcons could decide that a top 5 pick with just 10 touchdowns in 4 seasons isn't working for them, and that with all the talent they have elsewhere on offense, Kyle Pitts isn't worth keeping at a cost of $10.9 million. As his rookie contract ends, the trade market for Pitts might not heat up until after the draft. Teams might want to see where the handful of plug-and-play starters contributors at the position land, led by a pair of likely first-round picks in Penn State tight end Tyler Warren and Michigan tight end Colston Loveland. One starting point for the Eagles to land Pitts might be to offer Goddard packaged with a 2025 or 2026 third-round pick and go from there. From coveted prospect to underwhelming career, it's not hyperbole to say Pitts was the most coveted tight end prospect in NFL history. Pitts, 6'6" and 250 pounds, was a 2-time All-Sec pick and won the John Mackey Award in 2020 at the University of Florida, where he had 100 receptions for 1,492 yards and 18 touchdowns in just 32 games over 3 seasons. He sent NFL executives and head coaches into a further frenzy when he ran the 40-yard dash in 40 seconds at Pro Day. Pitts may have the traits and talent to create mismatches similar to those created by Calvin Johnson and Tyreek Hill NFL draft. Analyst Lance Zierlein wrote in his pre-draft evaluation, his rare blend of size, athleticism, and ball skills are reminiscent of Megatron. Along with Clemson QB Trevor Lawrence, Pitts has a chance to become the biggest game changer in the 2021 NFL Draft. Pitts started his NFL career on a heater, making the Pro Bowl as a rookie with 68 receptions, 206 yards, and 1 touchdown. In the 3 seasons since, he's consistently been one of the NFL's most disappointing players with an average of 42 receptions, 541 yards, and 3 touchdowns per season. The Falcons haven't done much to help Pitts either. The franchise hasn't made the playoffs or had a winning season since 2017. Breaking daunting injury could spell the end of 4-time Pro Bowler 5 possible next quarterbacks. In wake of this Pro Bowler's injury, the New Orleans Saints are in hunt for a new quarterback, and these 5 may be a fit. In a shocker, the New Orleans Saints will most likely lose quarterback Derek Carr for the entire 2025 season due to an injury. According to the breaking news, the Saints are scrambling for answers since Carr's injury could require surgery, as this is a brutal end to his campaign that didn't start. Carr was already entering the 2025 season in the final year of his contract after refusing to take a pay cut earlier this offseason. The Saints had high hopes for Carr, especially for general manager Mickey Loomis, but the searching will begin for the team. Originally selected in the 2nd round of the 2014 NFL Draft, the former Fresno State product did not impress several Saints fans that he was returning for what would have been his last year. It seems like fans will be relieved that they will be without Carr since they don't think he will take them to the NFL postseason. The biggest issue lands with the organization since they may trade for or draft a new quarterback in this year's draft. However, the Saints will probably be better off getting a veteran who could fill the spot for a couple of weeks to give second-year Spencer Rattler a chance to learn and adjust. He had that opportunity last season after Carr went down with another injury. There has been excitement for Rattler, but the Saints should roll the dice on these 5 quarterback options. Daunting injury could spell the end of 4-time Pro Bowler Derek Carr. 5 possible next quarterbacks, possible replacements: Kirk Cousins. Veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins is looking for a way to get out of the Atlanta Falcons. However, the team wants to keep him a part of their unit as a backup, which doesn't make sense since they have Michael Penix Jr. emerging as their capable starter. It shouldn't be surprising if the Falcons finally pull the trigger to trade him to New Orleans during the draft. Aaron Rodgers, meanwhile, the stalling game continues for this future Hall of Famer as he's still fighting to sign with a legitimate contender. Aaron Rodgers was close to signing with the Steelers, but it looks like that won't be the case anymore. The Saints might be in rebuilding, but if Rodgers lands with the Saints, he could help them to at least a wild-card run. Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater surprisingly came out of retirement last season to join the Detroit Lions after spending some time away from the league due to a scary injury. Jared Goff was inconsistent during the NFC divisional round against the Washington Commanders, so the Lions gave Bridgewater another shot since they were already down a lot of points. Bridgewater did show a lot of upside during his time, and maybe he could earn a shot in the league again. This might be the perfect opportunity for him to showcase his ability in New Orleans. Deshaun Watson after trading for former Eagle Kenny Pickett. It looks like the Browns are moving away from Deshaun Watson. The veteran hasn't been able to stay healthy in back-to-back seasons, so there's no surprise there. Watson could be dealt to the Saints at least to give time for Rattler to learn behind him. Spencer Rattler, the New Orleans Saints, might just stick with the next man up. Many in his circle have faith that he can lead this team in a rebuilding regime. Under head coach Kellen Moore, the team might not make the postseason, but it gives Rattler a chance to play one full season. Falcons add surprise Georgia Bulldog to list of potential draft targets. The Falcons have a chance to make both Georgia and Atlanta fans happy this offseason with clear first-round fits. Jalon Walker, Malachi Starks, and Michael Williams are all great. Potential fits for Atlanta: Walker and Williams would both improve the pass rush, while Starks would give the team hope of a long-term pairing with star safety Jesse Bates. While there are arguably superior fits, this does appear to be Georgia. Fans' best chance of seeing the Falcons add a Bulldog in the first round. However, the trio of Georgia defenders aren't the only Bulldog the Falcons are giving consideration. Georgia offensive lineman Dylan Fairchild is on the typical pre-draft tour and will make a stop in Atlanta. This doesn't come as a surprise with the Falcons holding 3 later-round picks and the need for improved offensive line depth. Fairchild has experience in high-leverage games and could become a surprise contributor with the right landing spot. Atlanta would be a great landing spot for Georgia's left guard, Dylan Fairchild from left to right. Atlanta's current offensive line is Jake Matthews, Matthew Bergeron, Ryan Nuzil, Chris Lindstrom, and Caleb McGarry. There are questions about the futures of both McGarry and Bergeron, with both players soon needing a new contract. Drafting Fairchild gives the team an outside chance at developing a cheap replacement if they opt not to pay their current left guard. No matter whether it is Fairchild, another draft pick, or a free agent signing, the Falcons do need improved depth at the position group. With Drew Dalman now in Chicago, Atlanta isn't built to sustain any injuries of note to the position. Dylan. Fairchild is likely a day 3 pick, but could be off the board when Atlanta's number is called, with the team not having their own 6th-round selection. The Falcons hold 2 7th-round picks due to the team's recent trade history. If Fairchild is still on the board at this point, the pick makes sense for both sides. And now, Dirty Birds fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Dirty Birds. I'll be back any moment with more Dirty Birds news. ATL, rise up.